everyone. Ashley May and Mike Beer here with the Daily Racing Form, taking a look at race number 9 this Sunday out at Aqueduct. It's the Broadway for 4-year-old fillies and mares. It's for the state bred runners, and it's a unique distance, 7A. So we don't see that too often, especially in the stakes ranks. But kind of looking at this field, it's a pretty big field, Mike. It may be affected by some scratches as a couple of horses are cross-entered. But looking at the morning line, favorites all the way on the outside in the form of the 11 Tough Street, who I can understand why she's the favorite. I don't know if she's the most likely winner, though.
Hey, good race here. I think a lot of different ways to go. There's some really talented New York breds in here. I'm with you, though, Ashley. I mean, Tough Street, she can certainly win here, but if she does wind up going favorite at post time, let's bet this race and we'll try to beat her.
Looking at her couple of tries at stakes competition, she didn't fare well really in either of them. Silver Skillet, though, was a runaway winner and an easy winner in the Mount Vernon. We'll take a look at the time form U.S. pace projections for this field. And see a couple of horses might be in the action early. The 2 Catchphrase might be in the mix, the 6 My Magic Wand. But the big thing with Catchphrase is this is a horse that is likely scratching from this spot on Sunday.
It sounds like, according to Dave Grunning's Race Advance anyway, that she's not going to be running here. It'll take some speed out of the race. And not only will it help a horse like My Magic Wand potentially, but it could help some of the other horses in here too. I mean, even with the 2 scratching likely, there are plenty of horses in here who want to be forward.
You can see the LP flag is attached to the 9. Caldwell Loves Gold for Brad Cox. His 4th last time out in the Interborough, but prior to that was almost a circling the field sort of winner there. Just had 1 horse beaten early before drawing clear by half a length. We'll kick it off here, though, with the number 1, Bon Adieu, who's actually entered in a different spot, and that is on Saturday. And it seems, based on that release that you mentioned, that Bon Adieu is probably going to pass this race and actually race on Saturday instead.
It sounds like she's entered in a graded stakes race on Saturday, but it sounds like, according to Rudy Rodriguez, he told Dave Grunning that he's planning on running Bon Adieu on Saturday and not here. So I didn't like her that much anyway in this spot, Ashley, but it sounds like she's not going to run.
Yeah, and I know her record at the 7 Ace isn't that bad, but you look at her last couple, it seems like 1 1/8 worked out for her well. 3 starts back, but her last 2 tries at the stakes level weren't as good. We talked about the 2 Catchphrase, likely scratching from this spot and also entered in a different spot as well. And if she does scratch, obviously that's going to be a void there in terms of the early speed of this race.
It felt like a really tough spot for her anyway. And it just sounds like she's not going to run.
The 3 Landed. We'll take a look at one of her performances. We're actually going to go 3 starts back, though. The reason I picked this one, Mike, 7 Ace distance at Saratoga. It really worked out well for her. She was kind of hounded early in this race and is able to shake clear by 1.25 lengths. Now, the runner-up is Caldwell's Loves Gold, who we mentioned has the LP flag. And I think the big thing with this filly is cutting back to 7 Ace after those two-turn races.
Yeah, and after a layoff, too. So we'll see if she comes back fresh in this race. I'm glad that you picked this replay, though, because even though Wesley Ward is sort of concentrated on longer distances with her, that might be the best race she's ever run right there in the Bowery going this distance. That pace was very strong and contested. She was a part of it. She put everybody away and stayed clear of the wire. That was a really, really good performance. This filly's really good, Ashley. If she comes back off the layoff ready, she's going to be tough in here.
4 for 7 in her career so far. The number 4, Spiteful Lily. This is one that's been able to win now 3 times in her career, sort of in every other start. Has a good performance, has a bad race, and most recently was able to take them gate to wire. It was at the 7 Ace distance, and it seems like her better races have been either at 6 or 7 furlongs.
Yeah, and she's also, it seems like she just runs really well fresh. Every time they try to put races together with her, it doesn't go that well. But when they give her a little time, she shows up and runs. I mean, she absolutely romped with a big figure in her debut. And while she hasn't run back to that, she's still run pretty well at times. I really liked her most recent effort to go in this distance. I mean, it wasn't a super strong field. I just thought she looked really good winning that day. And, you know, if the 2 scratches in here, this filly could be part of this pace and make herself pretty dangerous.
And we haven't seen her in the races since December 12th, but she has a couple of workouts, and they're all quite steady. The most recent, though, a step up, 48-2. The 5, Bernie takes charge here. Connections aren't necessarily sure what they're going to do at this point, and curious to get your thoughts on her because she's run some big figures. Look at the race 3 back. I know it was 1 1/8. That was a huge figure for her in 83. More recently, cut back to a mile, was able to win. I just feel like I don't want to say she needs the lead to win, but she needs to be really forward. And I'm not sure if she's going to have that sort of easy trip here with a couple of other horses that could press her.
I have the same concerns that you do. She cuts back to 7, and if they go fast in this race, I feel like it could really affect her, or maybe affect her more than it does some of the others. I do think she's a little underrated, and she's certainly. I didn't think even at a big price, if this is where she runs, I don't think she's impossible in here. I just sort of felt like there were other horses to get really interested in, but if she's a big price, I could use her somewhere.
Now, we saw with the time form US pace projections, the 6 My Magic Wand should be in the mix. We'll take a look at her most recent effort. This one out of the Greg Sacco barn. This is at Aqueduct, just going the 3/4 of a mile, and she sat for a little bit in the beginning. She made her move. She ended up drawing clear in this field, and she has just been good throughout her career, but really, I think, gained a lot out of that debut and has taken every step forward since.
Yeah, all three races since the debut are wins. She did get the 7 furlongs two back on a sloppy track. Her buyer dipped pretty precipitously there, and she didn't beat a particularly good horse either in geopolitics, but she got the job done, and she was way better last time. Just maybe the sloppy track is the takeaway from the race 2 starts back. Her races on fast dirt are both really good, and they make her competitive here.
The 7 Sweet Brown Sugar, I'll be honest, a big fan of this filly. She's raced a little bit of everywhere, but she started at Finger Lakes, went to Aqueduct, and most recently at Aqueduct, she had a huge performance. We'll take a look at that effort to pick up her 8th career victory in her 12th start. And I get it was a short field, just a total of 5 horses in here, but she had to make a move. We talked a lot about the horses in here so far wanting to be forward. She was patient early, and then in the stretch was able to open up here by nearly 2 lengths.
Yeah, she does everything right in her races. That's one of the things to like about her. She's very versatile, not only in terms of distance, you can go any distance with her, but also in terms of running style. She can be up on the pace, she can sit off it and run. Just a lot to like about her, Ashley. She's a major player. Now, I think it's only fair to point out that replay that we just watched. The favorite did stumble at start and lose her rider, so it's like that just sort of made things a lot easier for Sweet Brown Sugar last time. But I still think she was winning anyway, and it's a new top figure for her, and I really respect her right back in the spot.
I think the big thing too about the figure is at least it wasn't far off from her other numbers. She's
Yep.
consistently kind of in those prior starts, high 70s type, 79, including that stakes win. And you hit the nail on the head. 5.5 furlongs, mile and a 16th. She has wins at a variety of distances. Up next in the field is the 8 Cara's Time. This is one that disappointed last time out in the inner borough, but was a big price in there, 16-1. And if you go to the Iroquois, I think that might be the race to key in on with her. That was against the state bred types, and she just was gritty to the wire to get the win.
Yeah, started off with some real potential too. She was a stakes winner early on against New York breds, going 7 furlongs, ran 2 more really good races in stakes competition. So she's come back from the layoff last summer, actually, only 2 starts against New York breds, and she won both of those, including the Iroquois. Well, she sat a little bit off the pace. She's got a lot of speed, but she doesn't need to necessarily be on the lead. She was bad last time. I don't have a real defense for that one. But her race 2 back, another open stakes race, she actually ran really well in there against another really good field. I don't know. I just kind of feel like she could get overlooked in this race, and she fits really well with New York breds, and she has speed from the outside. Probably going to be a price in this race. I thought I could really talk myself into this horse.
And she's already a nice price on the morning line at 15-1. The 9 Caldwell Loves Gold. Curious to pick your brain on her. I feel like she's had some very nice performances, especially the 1-2 back, but last time out, she was just flat to me in that race. I thought she would have closed a little bit more. Maybe she needed hotter fractions, but I just wasn't enamored with that performance. Her figure didn't really dip much, but she's one that when she's at the top of her game, she could be very tough. She's just a little hit or miss.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last time. Actually, both she and Cara's Time ran poorly in that race. We'll see if they can bounce back, because they both have better races than that to get to. And I think that the thing to like about Caldwell Loves Gold is she's probably best as a closing sprinter. There's pace in front of her in this race. She should come running at the end. I think she's pretty dangerous, even though I didn't wind up really using her that much.
And we did see earlier she was second behind Landed, as you mentioned, in that sprint in the Bowery at Saratoga. Next up's the 10 Snap and Buttons. This was a decisive winner, 2 back at Aqueduct. Was able to draw clear by 7.25 lengths. My concern is the time of that race. The half is extremely slow for 7/8, in my opinion, 48-1. I just don't know what her best case scenario is against this group.
I mean, it just feels like they're taking a shot here. And maybe they just entered her to take a look and see, sometimes these races don't come up that tough, Ashley, and you can wind up in a pretty good spot to maybe get a stakes placing. Not the case here. It looks like she's in way over her head.
We already talked a little bit about the 11 Tough Street in here. This one for Chad Brown. Second last time out in a race over a sloppy track at the mile distance. Obviously, she has some big figures. The win 3 back at Saratoga stands out with the 90. She was able to take them gate to wire. It wasn't the biggest of fields. And you go down the page, I mean, she's consistently usually picking up a check. It's just, for me, Mike, I don't think she's going to offer value in here. She draws the outside, and what is she going to do? Is she going to sit just off of it and hopefully make one late run? That hasn't always worked out for her.
Yeah, agreed. I think there's a lot working against her here. And I will say, listen, she's a good horse. She has a top race that gives her a real chance in here. And I do think sort of 7-8 furlongs around one turn. That's her best game. But she really only ran one race all of last year that even gives her any kind of a chance in here. And that was the Saratoga race where she got loose on a day where speed was just dominant. Every race was dominated right on the lead. And she just got loose on a slow pace. That's the only race that she ran last year that gives her any kind of a chance in here.
All right, that's the fields of 11. We talked about there probably will be a couple scratches on Sunday out of this race in Aqueduct. It's top pick time, though, for the Broadway. And curious to see you use on top. So we both like Sweet Brown Sugar. I use her on the top spot. But you'll go with the price play at 15-1. Cara's time.
Yeah, I'm glad that you have the 7 on top there. I'm a big fan of hers. I think she can win here. I wanted to try somebody else, maybe at a little bit of a better price. I'll try Cara's time. Hope that she can bounce back out of that disappointing Interborough last time. Just get forward in here and run your best race. I think it gives her a chance.
We both respect Landed underneath. Curious to see if she'll be ready to roll off the layoff. Haven't seen her since October. 8-7-3-6 for Mike. 7-3-11-9 for me. It's race 9 on Sunday at Aqueduct. Good luck.